So this is where we are, staying at Miller Homestay, and we're just about to head off on a walk with Wayan, our guide, into the rice paddies. So we just went past some rice drying in the street there, and our guide Wayan explained that it's to make it easier to open with a machine. They used to bash it by hand. It's really interesting to come past these banana trees everywhere. So the guide is just mentioning that we have the corn on the outside and some chili and some taro, pine nuts. There's all different plants growing in this plot. So it's kind of like a mixed culture. It's almost like a permaculture, isn't it? You can see the swales dug in and the berms where everything is planted, so all the water can soak in and go down through the different channels down the hill. And it's always raining a bit around here, so I don't think you ever have to look for irrigation. Easy, always raining. He just explained about a mangosteen tree, and yeah, so it's interesting how they've got some sort of, permaculture that has happened around good practice, just because it works for them here instead of just having a monoculture. It's nice to have these permaculture swales. So here we are, quite deep in the farmlands now, and we can see that a lot of people are still using the rice to control the weeds. But over here they're using plastic, and they've got all the chili plants growing up in between the plastic. We know plastic makes things easier, but then there's a lot of plastic left over. So we can see here there's a lot of plastic that maybe comes from the creek or comes from the irrigation. There's just plastic everywhere, and Wayan says they do clean it up and then they burn it. So it's not a very good solution, but it is a very big problem. And it's hard to find the right way to deal with the plastic. Maybe one day we will have the solution.
We need to figure it out soon.
So we've been walking along all these irrigation channels. This is kind of our path. This is our irrigation channel path. And it's next to, this kind of big creek river here. And you can see the amount of plastic that's in there. It's pretty amazing how much plastic rubbish there is. And then these pipes, they run around, and you can see they're all, in bad repair, but still running plenty of water. And so this pipe must feed up from upriver somewhere and runs off down to irrigate or to the village or something. So we just emerged from the rice paddies up there, and we've just taken this little local road down and past the cow in the shed there, and there's some chickens running around here in the foreground. And there's a little chick, and there's all the rice fields and people working in the fields. And here we are going past another banana. We went past a lot of papayas. And it's lovely to see all the different fruits and vegetables growing. Here we go. Wayan is taking us back into the farmland, walking again along these the edges of these aqueducts, these irrigation systems. So all these different mountains around have these different names. There's another different style of permaculture here. Before we had the peanuts growing on the outside, and now we got a different vegetable here, something else growing in the center, and it's all the rice here that has been kept as a compost, as a weed suppressor, weed mat. And on the outside we have little vines growing up. What's on the outside, Wayan? Is it beans? Beans growing on the outside as the vines. So it also works as a bit of a fence around the outside, doesn't it? So it's lovely to see how they've sort of just naturally come across these principles, these systems that sort of embrace permaculture techniques. It shows that it works. So here's another mix of permaculture garden where we have the Bali onions in the middle, and we have the peanuts on the outside, and we got the corn on the edges, and then we got the taro here, this big broadleaf. So we've got, and then the beans again are on the outside. So this little plot has all these different kinds of vegetables growing, which is lovely. And they don't need to do any irrigation at this time of year for these kind of vegetables. But with when they do rice, they use these irrigation channels, and they change around the fields a bit. Over the last couple of days here, it's been a religious period and the Chinese New Year for the Balinese. And they've been celebrating Shivratri. How do you say it? Suwati?
Sivaratri.
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 So that's the religious period at the moment. And Wayan was explaining, and I read as well, that they have to stay awake for 24 hours. That's part of the tradition. We can hear ceremony happening in the distance, and we saw a lot of ceremony around with everyone dressed up in their traditional wear, often a sarong at the bottom and a white t-shirt on top, and various offerings. It's a very religious country, the Hindi religion here, and it's their version of it, different to the Indian version. And part of the idea is they want to have good karma. They want to make sure that everyone is good. As long as they do good, they don't have to worry too much about if someone else is doing bad. They want to make sure that they're doing good for themselves and the world, which is, I think, a nice vibe. We can also see here a lot of dragonflies flying around, a lot of bugs. We just got a few ants on us. We just saw a dead snake on the road. There's a lot of insects and animals around still. We've been seeing squirrels and birds. So it seems like it's got quite a diversity of life here in Bali, which is lovely. And there's sort of large plots of agriculture to feed the people well. That's for sure. Not just the Balinese, but all the tourists that come too, hey? We can see dotted amongst the fields, there's a shrine at the end of everything, a place to make a little offering. So there's one we're coming across just here, but they're everywhere in Bali. Almost every house has one. We can see here another little shrine in the agricultural farmlands. Seems like a nice balance to give thanks to the God that provide with the food, the farmland, the water. It's a little way of being mindful and giving something back. We have a little bit of sweet potato. They call it ubi in Balinese. A gentleman tending the field here with his rake. It's hard work, but it's a beautiful countryside. It's probably good exercise. And we've got to be very thankful to all these farmers that do this sort of work. So we got the farmer here who's just turning a field up there, and this is all done by manual labour, by turning and building up, making these swales and berms, and they'll plant on the swale, and you can see the water collecting in the bottom, and they do all the weeding, and often the weeds just sort of get chucked onto these berms on the side to compost, sort of like a fairly natural system. Haven't witnessed any pesticide or herbicide. They've sort of got their natural systems to keep everything under control. And then we go over here, and there's plastic. Which vegetable is this one, Wayan?
Yeah, this vegetable, so this bok choy.
Bok choy. A little bit of pesticide for the bok choy.
So leaf is not good.
Because
rotten with the insect.
yeah, good point. The insects love the bok choy as well, so they have to put a bit of pesticide. We've got a glove and a bucket there, and a few thongs and some more thongs over here. So most of the work is all done in thongs or even bare feet. So they work pretty hard and all done with minimal protective gear, but they do it all carefully and everything seems to be fine. So again, in the edges, we've got this kind of permaculture thing going on where we've got the crop and drop and the composting going down here. And this is banana trees and coconut trees just all in amongst the fields. You've got all these little pockets of other plants growing on that are beneficial. There's flowers that probably being pollinators, and yeah, it's lovely to see the balance. And right now we're not seeing too much plastic, which is nice. There's a little bit here and there, but it's not just riddled like some of the waterways. So they do try to clean it up when they can. It's probably not great for the vegetables, for the fields, so it's nice to know that there's a little bit of cleaning up going on where it's needed most. So we walked along up here before. We walked around and down here. Now we're heading back down to our accommodation. We're staying in a homestay called Miller Homestay. Yeah, it's a really sort of very traditional place, much less like a hotel or a hostel or a resort. It's really just a homestay, which is nice to be able to stay with a family. You feel like you're helping them out a bit, and they're certainly helping us out. So Wayan just explained that this sweet corn is about 2 months old, and the peanuts about 3 months, and the chili on the inside takes about 8 months. So they're all harvested at different times, and you get a mixed harvest from the area. And I think the marigold flowers are just a bonus. We can see here all the different terraces and levels and channels used to control the water. And again, we've got some corn that looks a bit younger here. And the lovely idea of the crop and drops, so just pulling out the weeds. This almost looks like bok choy, doesn't it? But here, just put on top to act as a compost and suppress the weeds. So it's a nice way to balance out everything in this awesome little farming systems. So Wayan has just brought us to this lovely little hut. There's an instrument here. He's having a chat in Balinese to the lovely farmers. We're working so hard in the field. And we get to have a little relaxing moment with a coconut and sit here. What a beautiful little moment we have. Delicious. Some of the trees holding this hut up are still alive. Some of it's made by coconut. It's all fashioned together with natural materials. A little bit of what looks like plastic rope here, but most of it's natural and just works perfectly to hang out here in the field. So this coconut was not quite as young as the ones I've had before, so the juice inside was much sweeter and more coconutty. And this fresh coconut here that we're eating is truly delicious. It's got a really interesting texture. Yum. This canal has this little bamboo bridge over it. It leads up to this lovely hut we've been hanging out in. Follow this cute little trail over to another one of the shrines here. And if we look down here, we can see all the workers harvesting the bok choy. Some with traditional weaved hats. You can see the harvested bok choy being taken off. Go to some restaurants from the field onto the heads of the harvesters, and then walk it down to vehicles that will take it to the cities for the people to eat. And again, instead of like a monoculture, which it would be in a lot of parts of the world, there's this sort of permaculture vibe and all these lovely flowers around the outside of the main fields, whether it's marigolds or this nice tree in the middle around the shrine. It's nice to have this balance, isn't it? So here again, we've got some nice little flowers on the edge of the field that had pineapples. So we can see a little bit here the pineapple plants, but they've already been harvested this time around. And I just stepped in the swamp. So we just came down this path, which is where the other ladies would have come to drop off their bok choy. And we're back on the road again, this little small country road. I'm gonna walk back up to our little homestay. And as always, all around the world, I suppose, everyone's always building. And here I noticed a lot of the formwork, a lot of the building work is done with bamboo. As we wrap up our tour, we can see the rice here that is definitely soaked, and it's about a month old. So we've just come past a few silver classes, a little massage place here, and a weaving class shop. So yeah, there's a lot of little activities to do here in Sideman. And now we're walking up this cute little path here And on our way back to the accommodation, I just marvel at all the different kinds of architecture, even simple things like, you know, the moss along the wall here, the way these walls have been made out of these rocks, and the flowers. It just always feels like there's so much plant life here in Bali, all mixed along everything else. It's very nice. Some tough dog woofers here. There's always dogs and cats around. Mix up and balance of life. Those ones are a little bit protective. This one's a little bit more relaxed. Hey, buddy. Here we come past some building supplies. They use a lot of this black sand in the building. You can see these different grades. And again, building a place here. And here we are, back at our homestay, which has these lovely orchids out front, and flowers. And let's walk into our homestay, and after 2 hours, we're gone, we're back. And it was a great experience. Thank you, Wayan. Thank you.